It was the scariest night of my life. I had just moved into my new apartment, a cheap place in an old building downtown. The landlord gave me my keys but hesitated before I left. "There's one rule," he said. "Don't look through the keyhole of the door at the end of the hall." I laughed it off. Maybe it was just storage or an abandoned unit. But every night as I walked past that door, my curiosity grew. Then, one night, I gave in. I bent down and peeked through the keyhole. I saw a dim red room. In the center stood a woman, tall, motionless, facing away from the door. My stomach twisted and I quickly stepped back. The next night, I looked again. She was still there, but closer. By the third night I hesitated, but something inside me had to know. I placed my eye against the keyhole, only to see nothing but red. Solid, deep red. I stumbled backward, my heart pounding. The next morning I confronted the landlord. "That room," I said, "who lives there?" His face went pale. "No one's lived there for years," he whispered. "The last tenant was murdered there. And the weird thing?" His voice dropped lower. Her eyes were completely red. My breath hitched, my pulse hammered in my ears. She was murdered?" I stammered. The landlord nodded. "Years ago, they found her in that room. But no one knows exactly what happened. The police never solved it." I rushed back to my apartment, trying to shake the icy fear crawling up my spine. Maybe it was just my imagination. Maybe the red I saw was a trick of the light. That night I locked my door and buried myself under the covers, but sleep wouldn't come. My thoughts kept drifting back to the keyhole, to the deep red room, to the woman standing there. Then, at exactly 3:00 a.m., I woke up. I didn't know why at first. The room was silent, the air still. Then I heard it, a faint knock at my door. My body froze. I held my breath, listening. Knock, knock, knock. Slow, rhythmic, almost patient. I crept out of bed, my heart pounding against my ribs. I tiptoed to the peephole, barely daring to look. The hallway was empty. I let out a shaky breath, relief flooding through me, until I heard it. A whisper, right next to my ear. "I see you." I spun around, my back slamming against the door. The room was empty, but the air felt thick, like something unseen was standing right in front of me. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. The next morning I went straight to the landlord. "I'm leaving," I said. "Today." He didn't argue, he just nodded like he expected it. As I packed my things, I avoided looking at the door at the end of the hall, but just as I was about to leave, I made one mistake. I glanced at the keyhole one last time. No red this time, no figure, just an eye, staring